Okay, I'm going to make these pages, and the point of this is not to be a professional. I'm not being a professional. I'm speaking raw. Um, I've had disembowelment, and I'm having a problem with this dance KFC worldwide pipeline that's kind of keeping me stuck in feces. Um, I have all my friends, my soul ties from my heritage have been erased about 3 years ago with a toilet video and a lot of sexual violence from what I heard. And, I've had some really rich kids, or I don't know if they're rich kids or I don't know who it is. Somebody's like, well, I thought we were playing a rugby game or something. This is what I was thinking was going on. And that they were just kind of being, I thought it was just some funny game. To be honest, in the start, I thought this stuff to do with TikToks and stuff, I thought it was just going to be light bullying, a little bit of memes. I didn't think anything, like, I didn't think it was criminal stuff. But there was a definitely crime going on with the Chinese underground. They were sex trafficking me, and I have not consented to that, and I am not comfortable with it, and I'm also not comfortable with my body. I mean, if I'm larger, I would only be doing anything with people that I knew for a long time. And I haven't been with anybody for a long time. And when I did, I was kind of sort of, the people involved were maliciously pushing me into it. And then there was a lot of narcissistic abuse of letting people who were less qualified or had put less time into their futures go ahead than me. Like, some people hadn't, as I really want to watch what I say because I'm not a judgmental person. Like, I am, but I'm not. I don't know how to really. So I haven't been trained by any marketing. I'm just speaking very raw. I don't have any marketing to portray me in a better way. I'm not saying this because I'm bored and immature. I'm saying this because I'm a victim of of a lot of war crimes, and I'm also being silenced on so many levels, and I'm also being ostracized from freedom of speech, but I'm also being denied the right to asylum for urgent medical care that I need. And I also don't feel like the land. I'm always very happy in my country. I like New Zealand a lot. Unfortunately, when this first happened, I had created this Instagram about how much I loved the land in this country, and it got stolen by foreigners. I love this country because it's just the landscape sort of reflects different places around the world in a way. And the most unique thing I've ever witnessed was it's almost in the middle of the South Island, going from Christchurch down to Queenstown and Kaikoura. There's a mountainous scene, and then there's a beach, and then up front it's like the seal colony. And it was really amazing because it was this real sunny day, but it had been snowing the day before, so all the mountains were covered in white snow, and it was a sunny day, like at the beach, but in the background it was snow. So it was like everything all at once. And that's kind of what New Zealand is. It's like four seasons in one day. We can have it like sunny, we can have it frosty in the morning, sort of like scorching hot in the middle of the afternoon, raining by night, and freezing and windy by mid, like really early morning again. So it's strange, our country. And if you go right up to the top of the North Island, you can almost dream that you're in some sort of island, an island kind of holiday, the beaches. Then if you go to the South Island, it's just pure farms and isolation, some really isolated places. I went to Bluff for the first time in my whole life, probably 2 years ago. I really liked it. It was like a little seaside. It's a little seaside town, and it's got not many things going on in it. It's just a little fishing town, and it's very, very old fashioned. That's why I like Invercargill too. It's so old fashioned, and that's sort of similar to how Auckland, some of the rural areas were like back in the day. but it's not like that now because everything's been upgraded. Let's put this into sections. War crime. There's been World War One and World War Two. World War One, they started having a pub and having 3 stars, which was Kayla and whoever the Adidas stars are. I think it's Kayla, Kiki, and maybe who's the other one? Is it Poppy? Nadia? There's 3 of them. These girls sort of went into my hometown and sort of like deceived everybody they were friendly girls, and they weren't. They're spies for the government. They're girls they're trying to build a business and things like this. They were definitely not innocent. But I got dragged through this, and that's when Jacinta Ardern did her Iranian travel regime with Allah, and they did a massive morality repression, and Russia went in with their military intelligence and started doing an assimilation policy over the culture and trying to find out what made me popular, why I ticked. This is how I believe they were going on, because I really had a plethora of friends. And so they did this investigation on my happiness and abundance. I also got kind of extorted from this honey group, making me a whale rider, whale sex, all this really disgusting stuff. I'm horrified. Before this happened, I was a very shy, conservative, quite serious person about this kind of stuff. I've got a real good sense of humor, but it's really different when it's about you. It's really different. It's not funny when it's about you. It's not funny when it affects your family. It's not funny when it hurts your cousins. And it's not funny that they get told to just kind of leave you behind and die, be positive, and that I'm some negative person so that I don't have anyone to be on my side. But my problem is so complex, where they have basically already established themselves in Christchurch and told people, why do you care about her? Stop caring about her. What do you want to help her for? Sort of teaching them not to help me, when there's really a big burial of crime that happened once they were establishing themselves as stars. And I got sent I got sent a video of them killing me on air flights, of me going to the toilet and basically bombing Vietnam style, that this girl's a model for these kind of shoe companies and these other fashion companies, and that I was being dragged around as a fat old pig. And I was mortified because I was in my mum's house doing my art, and then I found out they were doing TikToks that I was a dog every day, and that they'd been coming into my house when I'm asleep. I am saying this because maybe somebody will come forward with the truth. I think they've decided to take a code of silence to keep a whole lot of money down there as a treasury, sort of like I don't know, you know how RSA gets together and make a little treasury? It's like that. They've made like a little Ponzi community scheme down there. So they've been building things that I was working on in my life too, and sort of segregated me out of their trust fund. But that was my generational wealth, and that's the devastation, is that's my future that they just bought. And Meta, Mecca, all sorts of different American companies were there in Japan, and industrializing into huge plants to make money and make some investment schemes here, I think. Something like that was going on, and Jenny was really oblivious to this. Jenny just came back home to try and get a job because she was getting opposition in Australia, and it was nudity, and I had a lot of nightmares after my face got ruined about a motorcycle gang raping me and putting me on the dark internet in a toilet. And I don't know if it's true, and that's what I want to know, if it is the truth, because I feel like it's all been hidden from me. there's some things that have come forward, like people have seen me go to the toilet and they're not telling me completely, like, am I wasted? Is it really me? Is it dark internet stuff? My face got smashed in with big black eyes, and they were sort of Snapchat chatting to the world that I was a panda, that I'm not a racist, I'm not black, white, or yellow, something like this. And it was actually snuff photographs of me being bashed in. It was dangerous. And then, so I'm totally oblivious. People kept trying to warn me of stuff, and that's when I thought that my exes were trying to help me or something. I don't know what happened, but they told me a story about some system, and that I need to kind of be quiet, because if I speak up about a system, I'm going to get the whack type thing. And it was just some sort of investment scheme. And I thought, I mean, you're talking to someone, it sounds very abstract. It's not. How do you say this is reality? It's just a conversation with someone. I haven't seen this stuff for myself. And I didn't know, and the whole time KFC was building a pipeline to keep peace between their group, and I was getting the bash and getting kicked out, and they were keeping me in hostile situations, and I was hearing of Mia making me a joke that I was an old dog. So I went to Sweden, and when I was over in Sweden, they said I had a kidney problem, and I wasn't able to stay and get help because of my fears about the about the refugee camp and the timing. And I woke up with black eyes as well and thought I was poisoned, but now people have told me that I'm actually being trafficked, and these kind of black eyes come from sodomy. And I'm terrified. If you've seen any of these violent videos, would you tell me? I don't know, they've done something to my private area too, and it took about 3 or 4 months to kind of go normal, but I think they've cut all the feeling out down there. And I want to know, I think the lawyers stopped democracy a long time ago, and then the lawyers have barricaded the area up so I can't get justice. So that's one problem. That's World War One. Then I went to Sweden, and they started making this fence that I was a pest with apartheid all over the world, and making out that I was on a couch lazy all day. Like, I was on a train and I could actually see them showing stuff to Gordon. So that's when I started to think, oh, I've got the same gift my mum had. And I just started to see this couch being put out, and I just, for some reason, I could just see this face of Gordon when this couch was being taken out. And then all of the fencing, they just started this fencing, and I ended up not getting able to get a lawyer. The people came over and scammed them that I'm psychiatrically ruined and mentally ill. I got brought back here, and I still had a Nazi type regime where I was not looked after. They were kicking me out of all these cafes, like every cafe, kind of like giving me this discrimination. And I noticed that they were creating these books to blacklist me out of these, like, I was staying at hostels and camping grounds, and they were making these blacklist books. And I was really upset, because it was kind of like I couldn't really just live in peace. And then, yeah, they've just really ruined my life, basically, and ruined all the skin on the outside of my vagina and all the skin on the outside of my bum. And I went to see my mum crying, and she gave me a hug, and I felt sort of safe. And it's really weird, because I can tell you this now because I know more of what's going on, but back then I didn't understand. But they basically said I was a dead and buried angel. So I thought, oh, they've destroyed my purity, and I didn't know how to prove it. I didn't know why. I didn't know how to ask anybody. I was just left with my spirit guides telling me this information. Because if you look on my mum, her fridge, she's got a calendar. This was a year ago, and it's a calendar of a memorial, and it had all these flowers around it. And it had something on this photo that made me realize that they had killed the purity in me and that they'd killed my life. So that's when I knew. And that's how I am. I'm kind of like a person that, I don't know what it is. It's like I can feel something or see something and I get flashbacks of a whole feeling. It's like I'll see a movie in my head of a picture of a flash of something that matters. You know, on Charm Ones, how she can like feel something and then it just, that's kind of what happens to me sometimes. Like I'll just see something and I'll get a flash of something that I'm meant to know, but it's always so fractured. That's why I never really know how to speak about what I'm seeing or feeling. And it also keeps you isolated and scared because it's like, I knew that there was bad stuff going on, but I couldn't prove it. And for years I knew that they'd had some sexual stuff going online. And for years my grandmother kept saying that this black man is sexually abusing you. For years and years. And, I can't prove it. I didn't say anything to anyone because I know I'm not hearing voices. I know it's my grandmother. But I can't say anything to anybody until I prove it. And the more time's gone on, the more there's more information to prove that there is sexual violence. It seems like this black man's been sexually violent with me for many years. And I'm asking for information about it. Because what would happen would be a little bit of justice for me to get citizenship, like 14th and 15th Amendment, 8th Amendment, and maybe First Amendment. At this stage, it's impossible to almost go back to Christchurch. So I can go to different areas down south, but it's like the members group have already sort of painted me in a picture in this country, and it's not who I am. I need to get back to my family to tell them, but because of the military have taken over, they're occupying my family. They're also sort of, but in a fascist regime, they like to erase your past to kind of control and dictate your future. So if they make me look like a prostitute and a whore, then I'm not going to be loved for the rest of my life. So I was never like that. I think if I got plastic, I just want some compensation and some peace, like, a peace of mind at home, peace of mind from neighbours, and this ongoing stalking and harassment and the way that they've mutilated the way I look downstairs and around my eyes, it just devastating. And also the way my stomach's been mutilated with some sort of problems in my intestine. And I just am wondering how much is the government hiding from me, because a lot of people are saying that they gave me HIV and that I've got diabetes, but none of my medical records say that I have any of that. My medical record said I was pre-diabetic, and it said that I've got thyroid issues, which is a big part of why I'm tired. But I think the huge thing of why I'm tired is my liver and my stomach, because you need your stomach for that energy to turn over, and I don't have that. It's really stuck, and I don't know what to do about it. And it's like they keep blowing up my life and expecting me to keep going, and it's like I'm wounded. In most civil wars, if you're wounded, the wounded they need to step back and let people get in to have medical attention, and I've needed it a lot. I even booked myself into mental health in Australia. I left this country and went straight to Australia because 2 years before or something after the mental ward in Christchurch, when I tried to go back because I was scared of being homeless, they wouldn't take me. I went to Australia, they wouldn't take me last year either. So no matter what I did, I was not getting into mental health. And it's not that I need mental health, I just didn't feel safe. I'd gone through domestic violence and no one's helping me. Also, so I've made that video that I just made earlier today. This is to try and prove that I've been proactive and working towards my dreams that whole time, and that I do see visions of my future, and I always create from what I dream about or what I can foresee. and that's what they're trying to block. And I can't live like that, and I've got a serious health issue. And you can see on my other phone that I was actually like that the government gave me $2,500 to leave. I think the UK might have tried to help me get out of the country. As I've seen a lot of war articles, I can't find them now. They said something like, I think America might have been a bit annoyed, or Iran or Israel or whatever they call themselves, Turkey, were annoyed that, I think they said, oh, UK's, they were sort of talking like in a snubby kind of way, like UK is only helping Alex leave the country because they're gonna like profit off her being a war victim, something like this. And they were also reporting how Reuben's family had been holding me back financially to keep me lower class, and they were also reporting that I'd had military experiments on sensitivity and kindness, and I got really abused in this situation. I do not have these articles anymore. They've been lost. I'm just telling you, and they, the media machine of America is pretty powerful. Like, they know what they're doing to silence people in this cancel culture. So the injustices is I need to talk to somebody to try and understand what other people's perception was in that situation. But they're running that massive silencing factory or silencing media war thing. So the chances of anyone wanting to listen to me are probably very slim, because they've just got everybody going on how annoying I am, or I'm very ugly looking, or, woof, 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 like silencing me, like with a lot of disrespect. And it's really unfair situation. I didn't deserve the disrespect, because I worked very hard on trying to get myself out of the problems that this crime had done to me, but yet the criminals are walking free, and yet I'm going to have no citizenship, be kind of landless, homeless, and being denied the right to get asylum because of danger of these foreign arms creating this revolution of Turkey being the power of love. And I'm also being denied my basic needs of really really urgent medical care. Like, I need it. It's whatever's in my stomach needs to be operated on. It needs to be cleaned out. I can't live like this. And my liver, something in it needs to be cut out so I can spend time healing what is. Like, I am that wounded, and this is like a murder, that they actually need to give me somewhere to rest and heal my life, instead of filming me and extorting off me day in, day out, and sexually assaulting me. Because I just feel like it's a very unfair way that they made those 5 girls into stars and kicked me and said, eat dirt, basically, and took away my family to make sure my family were supporting these people. So it must be, I can't imagine what it's like for them, seeing me sexually abused and upset, but then seeing all these girls having fun and winning prizes and saying, forget about everything, just have fun with us. Kind of like a Pied Piper of fun people, but they're kind of not really letting it's like kind of hypocrisy, like grow up, be mature, but do as we say, not as we do. It's because they're not being mature, they're not letting diversity come in. So that's what I'm asking. For the sexual violence that psychically I've been in pain over, because I'm picking up on this energy all the time. And 2, how there was a world war creating like Kayla as a star, and I was put on a plane flight and shoved in a toilet, is what the kids showed me. I don't know who these kids are. I think maybe I don't know if they're young kids or what. And then they said I had a World War II, and I just got told John started an anti-Semitism movement all over the world, and that I was banned all over the world, and I was getting a lot of flack in Australia about being a dirty old man. And I want to just say I didn't do anything to deserve death, and I wasn't treated fairly as these other women. They just basically took away my rights, put me to death, and kept confiscating things that I was creating and making wealth out of it, and just keeping me in poverty. And now I'm battling these blacklists in this country, and it's like I don't know exactly where they want me to go, because I'm kind of worried now because I'm not really welcome here. And it's like, well, why didn't they let me go to Europe? Like, why did they stop everything that was going on in Sweden? Something happened over there. I'm not in 100% clarity, but I do remember seeing that the guys were all believing that I needed civil rights support and I needed help from criminal intent to hurt me, to being like I was a liar that was psychiatrically mentally ill, which made me believe the man making money off me and profiting off this war came in and paid them a lot of money. So I'm under all this corruption. And if your stomach's wrecked, you can't produce serotonin, you can't even like absorb the nutrients that you need to have the energy to get to get back on track. But I've got the same skills, and I just I don't know who to get this out to, because they've basically taken all of my friends and family, and then they like punished me with this cheap eat and denied me on a Russian regime of food. And I also was being followed by, out at Wairara Beach, it actually says like all of the places were promoting John, because it was all saying cute wolf. So I don't know if he had something to do with the rape out on the beach and ruining my vagina, because I've got real evidence that when I was visiting the place where I go and eat, they changed all the passwords to cute wolf, which is what he calls himself. So where am I meant to go? I'm a joyful, happy person usually, but I mean, I've got a concrete brick in my stomach. Like, when do I get to have actual, instead of trying to show off to the world that I'm happy, why can't I get the health care that I urgently need? And my past, I've done a lot of the things that I was doing was about being of the light. How can you talk sense to anybody? They just drowned me in a lot of poo with masses of groups saying I'm really disgusting and stink. And it's already tough enough. I'm already struggling with the way I look after abuse years ago. So I can talk out, but I'm under the oppression over something that beautiful people can't even compete with. There's a lot of beautiful people in this world being cancelled by the American machine, and they still get damaged and wounded by this media machine. And I'm just saying, I'm somebody that's just had my beauty ruined, and I feel very insecure about this media machine, and I feel very insecure about my stomach being abused and being bullied when I go to the hospital, and being compared to all these couples having love like wherever I go. Like, it's embarrassing. And on top of that, being denied the right, it's like they're making me feel unworthy of my own work. Like, I've got to be looking like a Cindy Crawford if I want to take credit for any of my work. Which, what is that? That's why I call it racism, because it's making me feel like you have to look a certain way to achieve as a woman.